Mini enthusiasts, how you doing? Welcome back. I hope you're well and I hope you're having a great day. So as you can see, I've got an empty workshop, which means I have painted the full shell of the car now, and I've pushed the car outside while I'm doing some dirty work. So in today's episode, it's kind of the final part of painting the shell. I do still have the bonnet and doors and boot to do, but the shell is completely painted now. And in this episode, we're going to be painting the back end. So thanks for tuning back in. Hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I'll catch you again on the next one. Cheers. Oh, and by the way, thanks for everyone that dropped me messages to say, hope you feel better soon, Keith. As you can hear, not quite there, but I'm certainly feeling much, much better. So thanks everyone. I will catch you again on the next one. Cheers. Right then, so just a bit of a recap on where we are. So obviously all the inside of the bonnet and bulkhead and everything like that has been painted. The whole front end has been painted. The inside of the car has all been painted. The sides have been painted. The roof has been painted. The underside, the sills and the boot floor has all been done in Raptor paint. The inside of the boot has been painted, and all we've really got to do is the outside of the boot now. Not a very big panel, but I'm suspecting it's going to be a bit of a pain. One, well, for masking them up, because we've got to mask up the boot, we've got to mask up the window. Might not be too bad actually. It's going to be difficult to get the last bit of masking on the boot, I guess, just because of, oh no, I guess I can probably go through the speaker holes. Yeah, I can probably go through the speaker holes to do that, and then I'll be able to put the rear screen masking in and be able to do that from the inside. So it might be not as bad as I think. On the back end, there's not much work to do. There's a couple of little bits of rust, really nothing major. I mean, obviously it's under the paint, so we'll have to take all the paint off. The rear valance is all straight, little bits of surface rust just right on the edge. And I guess the only thing which is not perfect is someone's put a rear valance on here before. It's not been done brilliantly. It's on there. It's definitely not going to fall off, but as you can see, they haven't spot welded it or anything like that. They've just blobbed big sort of inch bits of weld on there. So I'll probably clean that up a little bit, but I'm not going to take the valance off and put a new valance on. So yeah, and I mean the paintwork, these rear quarters have had a week to dry now. Front end's been a few weeks now. The paint obviously sinks back a little bit. You can see a bit more orange peel in the paint, but again, genuinely, I could probably put decals on that and I'd be pretty happy with it. I am probably going to wet flat it though. I'm probably going to use Trizac discs or something like that and just clean it up a bit. So yeah, let me get on with it. Let's get this masked up. I'll save the boredom. I'll just come back once I've masked it all. See how long it takes. Right, that's taken me about an hour to mask up. I haven't done underneath the rear valance yet because, well, there's no point. Last little bit, I'll do the rear valance. And I've pretty much wrapped the car 360. So I've gone all around and underneath the car as well, because even as much as you try, the overspray, even though you're spraying at the back there, even though this is all covered up, will go under the car, circulate round, and it puts a film on the inside of the engine bay. So it is literally wrapped up like a, I don't know, wrapped up like a Christmas turkey, I don't know. So yeah, obviously I will move PL. I'm just working around it at the moment. This is Friday evening again. So push the PL out tomorrow, and we'll get that rubbed back, filler primed, and then hopefully if that all goes well, then on Sunday we'll paint it, base coat and lacquer, and it'll be done. Like I say, I've got a few little crusty bits to sort out. I will get the strip disc on them in a moment, take them down to bare metal, and we'll get some cure rust on that overnight, and then we'll treat it
with some etch primer, some epoxy primer, then probably a little skim of filler before it's all painted. So, back in a moment. Right then, I got way more involved than I thought I would do. Let me turn round. Yeah, Friday night I was only going to be masking it up. So I started cleaning up the rear valance, and as you know, the rear valance on this was not fantastic. Although it's pretty much, there was no rusty holes in it, a bit of surface rust. However, when I started cleaning up the surface rust, it was just all over. There were like those sort of spidery rust marks all in it. And you can still see where obviously the rust is a little bit deeper. So I thought there's only one thing to do with this, and that is to get back to bare metal. So we'll now treat that with Cure Rust. But yeah, I wanted to make sure it's not hiding anything. The good news is I have still got half a bottle of tinted Raptor liner. So I'm probably going to use that to paint the bottom half of the valance. Rather than spray it on with a Schutz gun, I think I'll spray it on with a 2mm tip, my air gun, so it gives a bit of a finer finish. I mean, 2mm will still mean it'll be quite mottled. So yeah, I've got to do a bit more cleaning up there, Cure Rust it. Like I say, this is not fantastic, this valance, the way it's been put on. I need to go around with Cure Rust, get it in all the joins. There's a bit of filler here because it's had a weld repair pretty much there in the past, so I'm going to take that filler back as well, just to make sure it's not hiding anything. For now, let's get some Cure Rust on there, and I think that'll be it for tonight. Little tip for you: if you've got a problem like I have, where it's been, you know, you've got the 3 layers here. You've got the rear panel, you've got the rear valance, and then in the middle you've got the boot floor. So you get 3 layers prone to rust. And as you can see, it's meant to be spot welded, but the way this has been replaced, they've just seam welded along. So what you want to really do is get some Cure Rust and rust protection in between the layers. So what I do is get my Cure Rust, get a big thick brush, froth it up a bit, and you can actually lay it on the seam like that, nice and frothy. And then I get a gentle airline, and I just go along and I blow it into the seam. You know, it's not going to be perfect. The only way to do it perfect is probably to take it off and make sure it's been primed and that in between. But that I think that for me works pretty well. So just a little tip, might work for you, don't know. And then what we will do, when that's all dried, I'll then seam seal the outside of here. So it's sealed on the inside, sealed on the outside, it's sealed underneath. So in theory, you shouldn't get any moisture in that gap. Obviously at the moment it's prone for it because water will run down here behind the bumper. You get a capillary action where it will run around the back of the panel and just rot the gap in between. Right then, that's all rubbed back, and it's just had a quick flash over with epoxy primer. I usually epoxy prime wherever you get rubbed through to bare metal. I'm going to change my tact a little bit on the bottom valance. I am just going to paint that the same as the rest of the car. Obviously I'll rub that all back to clean bare metal, so it should be nice and smooth. And I'm just worried about mixing up paint schemes, mixing up Raptor with the paint that I'm painting on. I know everything I'm doing at the moment has been going okay. I don't want to complicate things by adding a different type of paint in. And one of the best features on a Mini is its bum, is its back end, and there's nothing worse than a bum with a load of bumpy bits in it, is there? Like the finish that Raptor gives. We like a nice smooth bum. So let's get that in filler primer now. Right, so the back end is now in filler primer. went on fine. Never had a problem with that filler primer. Touch wood. Yeah, just need to wait for that to dry, put some guide coat on it, and then flat it back. Right, so we've used the guide coat. I use this 3/8 dry guide coat, and then we've DA'd it back. I've treated the bottom of the valance like it's a normal piece of bodywork, so it should come out just as good. I'm just about ready to degrease all the panels, and then we'll get our base coat on. And then what I've done around the front here, you'd have seen in the previous videos, I mean, this is behind the trim, to be honest, the rubber, and like this bit here, but I'm just going to blow them over quickly, just for peace of mind. So I should be back in a minute when all the base coat will be done. I think the boot will be a little bit tricky to do because there's lots of corners and it's not a flat panel, so getting an even base coat all over will be quite tricky, but probably not, hopefully not as difficult as it was doing the sides and the door apertures. So let's give it a go and see how we get on. Right, so once again we are done. That is the back end of the car, all painted now, and I've got to say, like I say, you learn as you go along. I'm getting better and better and better. That is, I would say, almost perfect. I'm very, very pleased. There are a few small nibs, but really very, very little. I really concentrated hard on the back end because there's not a flat panel on the back end, so you can't really afford any mess ups, and you want very, very little orange peel in it because it's going to be very, very hard to flat back. So the plan was no mistakes, get the paint on good gun finish, and yeah, should be very little remedial work underneath. I'm glad I done what I said I was going to do, rather than going over that bottom valance with Raptor, because no one likes a wrinkly bum, as I said. But that is just as good as the rest of the panels, rest of the paintwork on the car now. So I'm going to give that a couple of hours. I'm going to de-sheet it, and then we'll have a quick walk around because the whole shell is done now. So I am super, super happy. That means that when I do any more paintwork now, I can just push it outside. I don't have to worry about covering it up, because sheeting it up and masking it up takes forever, and trying to stop overspray and dust and everything like that. So at least now all the main bodywork's done. I can push the shell outside. I can do the doors, bonnet and boot in here. I'll probably leave all the cardboard down. It's getting a bit tatty now, but it's doing the job. Again, I just come in here and I wet it before I start, and then obviously it dries out. So give me a couple of hours, let me get it de-sheeted, and let's have a look at it outside in all its glory. Right, there we go then, outside in the sunshine. It's looking really good. That back end still, the paint's still soft on it. Probably takes a week to fully harden and cure, so I need to be careful. Already bashed the jack handle into it, which is not a great idea, and put my hand on there, but it hasn't marked it. Compared to the rest of the paintwork, it's all good. There's certainly left orange peel in the back end, but it tends to settle. I mean, this panel here, there was pretty much no orange peel in it when I painted it, but after a week the thinners and the primer and everything shrinks back a little bit and you get a bit of orange peel. But overall I'm very, very pleased. As far as colour matching, reflections, everything like that is spot on. I've tried to paint the same amount of coats everywhere I've painted, tried to apply it in the same way, and fingers crossed it seems to have paid off. I think pretty much near enough every inch of this car has been painted now, the whole lot, apart from obviously the doors and boot and bonnet and that sort of thing, but the actual shell of the car. Roof's still looking great. So I've said it before, the only annoying bit is you just get overspray everywhere, or dust, so it does want a very, very good clean. But yeah, what do you reckon? Yeah, when I talk about dust, look inside there, it's covered in dust now. Even though I sheet it all up, it just finds its way. So I'm very pleased. Next job will be the doors, bonnet and boot. And then I think we'll have a tot up, work out how much it's cost me, because it's not as cheap as you think it might be. It does all start adding up.